Hi, and welcome to Pass Her the Mic, a lifestyle, wellness, personal development mini-series with your host, yours truly, Deandra Kanu. Please welcome Bryan Abasolo to the podcast.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
You guys hear that intro?
That was a mouthful.
It was a monologue, so
Yeah.
welcome so much. I'm excited to have you here, Bryan. Thank you for
Excited
being
to
here.
be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I met you last year. I can't remember, like a couple months after I moved to LA. I think I came to you the first time because I hurt my neck. I think it was from like my ponytail, and I was struggling with TMJ.
Yep.
So TMJ is basically like, how would you describe TMJ?
Well, it's basically the joint. It's a temporomandibular joint, and a lot of people have issues with it, whether it's like clicking or just pain right there in that jaw area. It can affect a lot of things like eating, the way they sleep, things like that. So it's a common condition.
Yeah. And so I came to you because I grind my teeth really bad at night, and ultimately, like I was having the clicking. Like anytime till this day, I still open my mouth and it like clicks and hinges. And so I was looking to alleviate that pain, and he is the chiropractor of LA at the moment. So
Appreciate that.
I came to him. Can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to get into like medicine or health and wellness, or even go to school?
Oh, taking it back.
Yeah, let's take it way back.
Yeah, it was actually in college. I would say my senior year of high school. I was actually junior year, rail thin. I was like 100 and I don't even know how many, like maybe 150 pounds. I was my same height. So I was a skinny kid, acne, and none of the girls were talking to me at all. And I pretty much just started working out with my cousin at the time. Went to like a Gold's Gym. We worked out all summer. I gained a bunch of pounds. I actually lost my acne because I started taking some medication for it. And obviously, the confidence went through the roof. And, that changed my life for the better in the sense that, I saw like the different ways that I could help myself just be better as a human. And obviously lifting weights was one of them. So I became obsessed. And like once I got into college, I started to fix my diet a little bit more, and just start to learn, the different types of foods that work for my body and make me feel the best. And, the love and the passion has just grown from there. And actually, while I was in college, I met a chiropractor who I shadowed for a little bit, and she was doing great. I mean, Gainesville, Florida, go Gators. It's a small town. She was actually doing really well in a small town. She worked like 20 hours a week and was making six figures. I was like, all right, that part sounds good. And, when I was shadowing her, I just loved the patient-doctor interaction. I loved that it was natural. I was starting to learn at that time about, the harmful effects of medications and, the effects it could have on your liver, your kidneys, your intestines, and things like that. So, it was just like a gradual shift. And every year, every day that passes, it's like I learn new things, and you're just trying to get better and better. So that was actually the launch of my chiropractic career. I just decided, you know what? I like what she does, and I like the whole natural aspect of it. I basically switched my entire major, started taking all the science courses, and applied to chiropractic school and went to chiropractic school, and the rest is history.
Okay, so chiropractic school is different from med school.
Correct, yes. Chiropractic school is specifically for chiropractor. Like my degree is a doctorate of chiropractic. So it's DC, so Bryan Abasolo DC is how you would refer to me. So, but yeah, it's a almost 4-year curriculum. We do all types of sciences, anatomy lab, and like we're all up in there on the cadavers, like learning about all the nerves and the muscles and things like that. And there's multiple parts of the national board. I don't know if it's still like that. I graduated a while ago, but there's a lot of testing that you gotta get past. I was actually practicing in Florida when I first started. That's I'm from Miami, hometown. So there was a Florida test. There was a national test I needed to take. So it was tough. It was a lot.
Yeah. It sounds extensive.
Yeah.
And so I like that you said that it's more of like a holistic approach to wellness, and instead of just prescribing medications, which I feel like, especially doctors here in LA, like I've been struggling with my health, and every time I go to a doctor, it's like, okay, they're not giving me natural solutions as far as like your eating habits or things like that. They want to just put me on medication or birth control or whatever it may be, and that's just not a solution for me. And so you said something about biohacking. I feel like this is like a word that trends on social media. Can you
Yeah.
give us a little more on what biohacking is and
It's-
why you think it's important?
I mean, for me, it's like a very simple definition. It's like do-it-yourself biology. It's doing things that are gonna improve your health, your wellness, your lifestyle. So it could be simple things: intermittent fasting, breath work, meditation, working out. Taking on a particular diet program, paleo, keto, carnivore, whatever it is. Just things that are gonna enhance your life and just make it better, make you feel better. One of my biohacks is, I'm sure you've seen it on social media, X3 bar.
Oh, yeah.
It's, my workout system. It's my go-to. Like, I run a full-time business. I don't have time to, go to the gym. I mean, just imagine the back and forth in traffic in LA, getting to the gym, waking up early or going after work when I'm exhausted. It's just something that doesn't work for me. So here I have a situation where I have this amazing piece of equipment. I get my workouts done in 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how long I want to take. And I get a great workout, I get the results, and I have a less injury risk with this. So I can't afford to be out of the office for 2 weeks because I threw out my back at the gym doing deadlifts. So for me, it just made sense. Like when the person that was about to sell that or that was talking about it to me, pitched me on it, I was like, I'm sold.
Done deal.
Where's a website? Like I bought it right away, and that was a done deal. So just things like that, just things that are going to make your life more efficient and are going to give you the results at the end of the day.
And increase longevity?
Absolutely. Longevity. I mean, I'm all about, anti-aging and, anything that's going to enhance, not only your looks, but also your insides and enhance the longevity of your life. I think everybody should be about that. You know what I mean? We only live once. You want to live as long as possible.
I agree, and I feel like not enough people know about anti-aging or like preventative measures as far as your health and what you should be doing. And me at 27, I'm taking measures now, and I'm like, what can I do to make sure that I look the best, feel the best?
I see you taking all those supplements.
Exactly. I'm the supplement queen, and I saw you take some before this podcast. What was that?
So I actually took magnesium and ashwagandha.
Okay, I take those.
You take those, okay?
Yes. So I would love for you to tell listeners and whoever's listening to this episode, what do you think are maybe like the 4 or 5 most important supplements that you should incorporate maybe in your 20s to see an effect?
As a guy or in general, just
do guy and do girl. Or you can give a basic, whatever is most effective.
Yeah, I would say, for guys, like when it comes to, working out, I think creatine monohydrate is, a very highly studied supplement. It has tons of research on it. And not only does it help you become stronger in the gym, and women can take it too. It's not something that's going to, make you buff or anything like that. I know that's a common misconception, but it actually helps your brain, be more with cognitive function and things like that. So I highly recommend creatine. Magnesium, it's...
What kind?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That one's a really good one. Okay. Lysine. I personally take glycinate just because it's a little easier on the stomach for me, just because magnesium can have that laxative effect. So it's a situation where that is a supplement, that's a mineral that we run out of daily, right? We exhaust that magnesium in our body, so we actually constantly need to replenish that. So it's a mineral that is involved in so many biochemical reactions in our body.
Like what though? Like sleep? Does it help with
Yeah,
like sleep?
Energy production. It's like a natural muscle relaxer. Like my favorite benefits are it calms me down. It like mellows me out. It's kind of why I took it right now.
Right.
I would just want to be like chill. I just want to have this conversation. Like I don't want to be anxious. So it helps with anxiety. If you're feeling a little down, it's going to get you up a little bit. I would say sleep is huge. Like it literally knocks me out. I'm able to sleep deeper. I dream bigger dreams. You know what I mean? So it's the best. It's the best. And I know the recommended daily allowance is like 400 milligrams, but even athletes take up to 1,000. So,
there's no overdosing on it, essentially.
Right. There's no overdosing. Obviously you may be going to the bathroom if you do, but I've kind of been experimenting like with, here comes the biohacking, just, on the different dosages and things like that. And, I'm like right now I take like 600, 700 milligrams a day. So I'll take maybe 2 in the morning. It'll kind of just get my day going. I'm focused. I'm honed in on everything I'm doing at the office. And then I'll take like a regular 400 milligram dose before sleep, which knocks me out. L-theanine is another good one.
L-theanine.
L-theanine, yeah, it's like it's like anxiety, natural anxiety. It's amino acid. It calms you down. It just helps you focus way better on whatever you're doing. So I'm very into like those natural brain enhancing or thought enhancing things like L-theanine. Magnesium is great. I would say vitamin D3. Vitamin D3. I mean, that's it's a hormone.
Aren't people like deficient in vitamin D?
Yeah. There's tons of people that are deficient. I mean, obviously, what we experienced, still kind of experiencing in 2020 and up to now, there was like a correlation between like low vitamin D3 levels, and obviously being outside, we get it actually naturally from the sun. But with modern technology and people being in offices all day in cubicles, they get there in the morning and then they come back home at when the sun's already down. It's like, when are they going to get their sun? And are they doing it on the weekend? Maybe not. They just want to relax indoors. Air conditioning, it's hot in LA. You know what I mean? Just there's a lot of factors that play into you not getting enough sunshine. But if you can't get enough sunshine, then you definitely want to supplement with like a quality vitamin D3 supplement. I would say vitamin D3, magnesium. Those are probably, zinc is another good one. Especially for guys.
So far we have creatine, magnesium, L-theanine, D3, and zinc. Those are the 5 that you would recommend. Just super baseline.
Just
super
baseline.
Everything is obviously different specifically.
Yeah, everything's, that's kind of like my little personal protocol. Ashwagandha. That just puts you in it puts me in a very positive mood. Just, it relaxes me, it enhances my mood. So I'm always dealing with, energy in my office. I have a lot of people that are in pain, so I got to be upbeat. I got to be, positive and encouraging for these people that think they have no hope when they come to me. So I want to be my best self when I'm in front of them, and those supplements help me enhance that mood and that interaction. And that's only supplements. Then there's like the dietary component of it. So I'm always thinking about, how can I get the most nutrients into my body? I try not to eat things that don't really have a lot of nutrients, maybe things that have a lot of sugar, and they're just gonna, spike your blood sugar and you're gonna crash, an hour later. I just don't jive with those types of things. You know what I mean? Now, granted, I know every once in a while, you kind of indulge a little bit, have a donut, whatever it is, but I try to stay away from like the processed foods, the things that are high in sugar, seed oils. Seed oils.
Okay, so basically I feel like Bryan is saying that most of your nutrients should try to come from food, and then obviously we supplement where we're deficient in certain things, and we should always try to get your primary source of vitamins from our food. Correct. But you're talking about sugar and you're talking about seed oils, and I feel like people just really don't know, because the way that the food markets seed oils like vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil, it essentially makes these oils seem like they're healthy, or like they're heart healthy, or canola oil. And we're learning more and more about the negative effects and the inflammatory effects of these oils. So what are the oils that you should be ingesting, and which ones would you recommend staying away from?
For me personally, I believe that there's maybe like a list of 4: avocado, coconut, extra virgin olive oil, and then any type of, I personally love raw butter, or like any type of like tallow, like beef tallow. So that's basically just like fat that you could cook your meats in, your chicken, whatever it is. But yeah, I would cook with those oils. And that's the unfortunate part about it. Like, you hit it right on the head. All those are very, not those, but the ones that you mentioned, the canola, the mazola, the Criscos and things like that. Those are super high in omega-6 fatty acids and just inflammatory properties that, are going to lead to disease the longer you take them. So, you definitely want to eliminate all processed sugar, all added sugar, and just try to eat things that are highly nutritious. Things that are high in protein. A lot of people don't, agree with the type of foods that I eat. Even my family,
Really?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
what?
So I experiment with like keto, carnivore. So it's like you tell somebody, it's like, yeah, all I'm doing is eating meat. All I'm doing is eating ribeye steaks. And they're like, oh my God, you're going to clog your arteries and you're going to get a heart attack and this and that. But like what people don't realize is that like things like meat, fatty meats, like the fattier cuts, even like a ribeye, pasture raised eggs. Those are some of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And they're very bioavailable. Like you process them really well. You absorb a lot of the nutrients from those foods. Raw dairy, I also love. I think I tried to put you on that.
I'm still on that.
You're still on that? Okay.
Because what I feel like people don't understand is that we've been fed this lie that like all of these processed, like low calorie, like low fat, all of these items and food items, I wouldn't even call them food, that sit on a shelf, like these are healthy, like Quest bars. And not to say that they're like horrible for you, it's just they're not food.
Yeah.
And they're really over processed. And when you take any kind of food and you put it through, and you're essentially removing the nutrients, and then when you get it, it's basically crap that you're eating, and you get nothing out of it. So it's like you have to unprocess your diet, and I don't think it's a radical thing. And even with like the carnivore or keto or paleo diet, like if you look at them, they're all based around whole foods.
Correct.
And I think everyone should be eating specific to like whatever your body type is, and like that's why people experiment with different diets. Like for some people, like if you have a certain blood type, you can't, or you can eat certain ways. So I think it's really important to keep an open mind. And so with the raw milk that you're talking about, it's essentially like we're unprocessing the milk.
Yeah, I mean,
process.
it's like farm to table as close as possible to it. You know what I mean? It's non-homogenized, non-pasteurized. Like it's the best stuff on earth. I mean, I absolutely love raw milk. Like that's kind of like a dessert to me.
Right.
And yeah, it does have some sugar, but it's like, naturally occurring, and it's very healthy for you, in my opinion. I know a lot of people out there are like lactose intolerant and they can't tolerate things like that. And if you can't handle the raw milk, I totally like understand. But, a lot of people, they think milk, but they're actually drinking, the gas station milk,
Yeah.
That you buy, and that has, that's what's going to make you sick. So, I think quality is what the key is here, and you just want to get the best stuff with the most nutrients. I mean, do your research, because a lot of those things on the shelf, they'll have like these buzzwords like low fat, healthy, whatever, heart healthy, and it's like if you look at the ingredient list,
it's like peanut oils.
Yeah, it's like all
palm oil.
A first couple of ingredients are like these oils. It's like it's like you got to stay away from that. Just eat, like you said, whole foods is where it's at, and I have nothing against like the vegetarians, vegans. Like my theory is like, look, if you like, a lot of people feel great on those diets because they're coming from like a highly processed standard American diet, and then all of a sudden they're eating all these whole foods, plants, berries, fruits, whatever the case may be. They're going to feel better. I do believe that those diets maybe are lacking in some nutrients, and that's why I do like to incorporate meat, just because it has like the complete amino acid profile. It just has tons of vitamins, as does raw dairy, as does, the eggs. There's like what they call it nature's multivitamin. You know what I mean? So, but that's not to say that, a vegan or a vegetarian can't function efficiently. And if that works for your body and that's the way you want to eat, like more power to you. You know what I mean? It's just, I think everybody just needs to find what works for them at the end of the day.
I think it's definitely going back to just unprocessing your diet. So if you're ingesting like a ton of, you see some of the fitness industry pushing like all these like super stacked protein powders and these protein shakes and these protein snack bars and these protein chips. And I almost look at it as if like these are just additives that you're adding to your body, not necessarily to say that this is a bad thing, but I think when people think of like eating healthy, they think of all of these processed healthy snacks, quote unquote, that the industry is feeding us. And so just unprocessing your diets and eating as many real foods as possible. When I shop, like a hack that I learned is staying on the outside of the grocery store.
Perimeter.
Yeah, the perimeter.
Don't go in the aisles.
Don't go in the aisles, because in the middle of the aisles is where you have all that processed food. Right. So just staying on the perimeter, because that's where you have your vegetables, that's where you have your meats, that's where you have, your eggs and your cheeses. And again, if your body can't handle maybe your lactose or something, you can avoid those. And there's nothing wrong with like a vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, keto, paleo. whatever diet, as long as you're unprocessing your food. I think that's the ultimate goal.
And I mean, you just brought something up to me. The things that are on the labels. I used to be in college. I used to have I thought the whole low fat thing was the way to go. So I was eating very low fat. Anything that said low fat, I was all about it. But your body needs fat, and it's no coincidence that at that time I was suffering from acne. Like I would be constantly breaking out. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like I'm super, careful about my face and what I put on it. And I was like using all the medications. I mean, I spent a small fortune on like acne medication just to try to like clear up my face and things like that. And I just had like these rashes, and it's called keratosis pilaris.
I think I had the same thing.
It's like chicken skin on the back of your arm, and it looked terrible. You know what I mean? It's like a bunch of bumps, like red bumps. People thought I was like, juicing, things like that. So it's like, well, like, how can I get this off? And everything was internal. Like once I switched over to, years later, I switched over to keto, carnivore, completely gone. Like my skin cleared up. Like I have no body acne or anything like that, which it's like, wow, it's like really is all in the diet. And I mean, some people try that. Like another biohack would be like an elimination diet. I know we talked a little bit about it, like, whether you're having skin issues or just bowel issues or whatever, maybe you have leaky gut or whatever. It's like, how can you minimize your diet so that you could kind of see what is affecting you, and then slowly reintroduce different foods back into your diet so you could kind of do your own test. You know what I mean? And a lot of people start off with just eating meat, you know what I mean? And then little by little implementing, the dairy or the eggs or the carbs, the fruits, the vegetables, because even though something's healthy, it may not react well with your body. You know what I mean? So it's like fruit and vegetables, like, no, this has to be healthy. It's like, well, maybe it's causing, some of your issues. Like try an elimination diet.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. I think that for someone at my age, like 27, I have anxiety and sleeping problems, and I consider myself to be like a very healthy individual.
Yeah.
And I'm a very aware person of what I'm putting into my body, but there's obviously something that's not working. And so I've tried the elimination diet, and I'm getting blood work done. I was actually supposed to have it last week, and I missed my appointment, but I'm getting blood work done. Every time
what happened, Deandra?
Every time I try to get blood work, I had the wrong day marked on my calendar.
Okay.
But every time I try, I was supposed to go before that, and I went, and I wasn't fasted. My doctor told me I didn't need to be fasted, but the people at Quest Labs was like, you have to be fasted for these tests.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to go this week, and I'm hoping that that's going to give me some answers. Maybe what I'm experiencing is hormonal, and it's maybe not even a nutrition factor.
So you're taking like a full on, like a hormone panel, like nutrient profile, all that.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to take like 15 vials of, and if you guys are squeamish like I am,
you might have to take that day off.
Yeah.
You'll be a little woozy.
That's what I'm saying. I need my friend to take me to the appointment because I'm not going to be okay. But essentially, I just believe that you have to put your health into your own hands because a lot of the Western medicine, they're not taught to like evaluate these certain things. And I'm like an advocate for myself, and I'm in these doctor's offices, and I'm like, you've seen the way that I talk because I come into your office and I'm talking crazy. And I'm like, I need this and that. But the doctors look at me like I'm so insane because I'm like, this medication, I don't want to be on medication. I need you to like tell me something that I can do, or whatever test I've done, like a gut test and like a stool test, as like gross as that is, and trying to find answers so that I can change my lifestyle. So I'm very much an advocate. You have to take your health into your hands.
And it's funny you say that. I actually saw a post the other day where it's like, some guy, it was like a doctor, and he was like, what, some of the healthiest people I know are the ones like you that ask questions, that do their research, that do all their homework, and maybe not necessarily self-diagnose, but in a way kind of, you know what I mean? Like they don't just rely on the word of the doctor, and it's like, here, take this script, and some people just follow that, and it's like, well, the doctor said to do this, and I just think that's like the totally wrong way to approach your health. I think you got to ask questions because, they'll say, oh, this will clear up that, but is it going to cause like 30 other side effects? I mean, you see the commercials on TV. At the end, they go on. It's like some dancing. Yeah, it's like they speed through all these like anal leakage, death. Like what? So it's you gotta ask questions, and that's the unfortunate thing that in Western medicine, it's just either I see a lot of it in my office. They get medicated with all these drugs that are causing all these different side effects. They get injected with cortisone, which essentially breaks down the joint, breaks down cartilage. So it's like getting a knee injection, because I treat a lot of knees now, or getting an injection in your back that's going to wear down your spine. It's going to lead you to that surgical table a lot faster. So it's like, yes, may it take the pain away in that moment and you have 6 months of relief, but there's a reason why the doctors won't give it to you, multiple times in a month, or it's like they'll tell you, oh, you got to wait for, 6 months, or I can only give you a certain amount of these a year, because they know how bad it is. You know what I mean? But they just want to get the patient out of pain at that moment. I get it. And the patient's desperate maybe, but sometimes you got to think about your long-term health. And even if it's, spending a little bit more money on something that's more natural, rather than it's like, oh, my insurance covers the injection, or my insurance covers the medication. It's like you're shortening your lifespan by doing that, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I feel really sad, because I feel like Western medicine is amazing, and there's definitely a place and a time for it, especially when you're in pain.
Yeah,
and there's
absolutely.
times where I've been in, extreme pain. It's
Right.
like I need to take medicine, or I need to take an ibuprofen. I'm so thankful at that point for that. But I think that there should be a mix of, if it's something that can be treated without having to like numb the pain in that moment, and this is going to provide a long-term solution, we're responsible for that. And so what you were saying about, it might be worth it to spend that $300, $400 to go see a naturopath,
Right.
and get to the bottom of what it is, so you can change your lifestyle instead of going to the doctor and getting, maybe for some women, on birth control. Because that's
Right.
what they've told me so many times for my acne, for some of my other problems that I have, is just, like birth control, as if
It's
like,
just
that's a
doing a
solution.
number
Yeah.
on your hormones.
It's doing a number on your hormones. It's like putting a Band-Aid on something. And something that you said earlier also triggered this in my mind. I was listening to a podcast, and the guy was essentially saying, sometimes it's the people who care about their health the most that notice a lot of things wrong with them, versus people who are just so unaware of their health. They never notice if something's off in their body. And it's mainly because they take a lot of medicine to like numb the pain, or they're just not aware of how they're supposed to feel. So when something's off, they just think that's normal.
Right.
So I think it's very interesting, because my family makes fun of me all the time. They're like, for the healthiest girl that we know, you have a lot of problems. And I'm like, I think I'm just really self-aware. And
Are we hypochondriacs?
maybe I am a hypochondriac. And that might be it. But I just think I know what my body's supposed to feel like when I
Right,
feel good.
right.
And I also know when something's off. And instead of ignoring when something's off, I'm like immediately on it. Do you think I'm a hypochondriac?
No, I feel like, I'm on kind of like the same wavelength as you. Like
Okay.
I'm always like on the eternal quest for, longevity and just feeling like in an all-time high. And that's one of the reasons I got into chiropractic, just because, we are natural doctors of the nervous system, and we help align everything and basically allow your body to do what it was naturally intended to do and just function on all cylinders. And that's why so many athletes, do chiropractic. But then you have different aspects of it. You have the supplementation. And I think, I have so many patients that just rely on these medications so much. Like I had one patient that she was on taking like 500 milligrams of Tylenol, like 2-3 times a day for years. And it's like,
That's scary.
that's eventually going to manifest itself in
like liver problems, right?
Yeah, liver problems, kidney, your intestines. You're like, and that's the thing about a lot of these medications, is that they actually mess with your intestinal system, your gut. And our immune system is majority in our gut. So it's a situation where if your body is not processing the nutrients from the food, and you're only absorbing like half of the nutrients, it's like, what's the point of that? You want your body to absorb all the nutrients in your body. So like maybe something like digestive enzymes, because a lot of people in this country specifically don't absorb the food like they should, because of all the damage that processed foods, junk, medications have wreaked havoc on their intestinal system.
No, I completely agree with that. There was something I was going to ask you. I'm really interested in people's morning routines, especially for people who biohack like you, and things that you suggest. Like, this is the optimal morning routine. What does your morning routine look like on like a good day?
Honestly, my morning routine. Well, I'll tell you what I have been doing at night.
Okay, give me a night routine.
Actually, magnesium is a given. I have tried lately a little bit of like CBD. It's also like a natural, chill out effect. But just sleep is so important. I have to sleep well. Anything above 6, I'm okay with, but I'm trying to go for 7 to 8, I think is ideal. And, but yeah, sleep can affect everything the next day, you know, your energy levels, your mood, your cognitive function. I mean, I think they just did I was talking about this the other day. I saw a post about, I guess they gave us, like, students 8 hours of sleep for one group and then like 4 hours of sleep for a second group. And they quizzed them or tested them the next day. And they showed that the group that got the 8 hours of sleep retained twice as much information as the kids that, you know, got half the sleep. So it's super important. You definitely want to get the quality sleep, and that's why I do take these supplements, the magnesiums, the L-theanines, and you know, there's different formulas that have like all these in a bundle, in a proprietary blend, as they like to call it, and so that's fine too. I just take them individually, but I mean, when it comes to, you know, my morning routine, I would say hydration is key.
So you wake up, first thing you do is grab water.
First thing I do is go grab water because and a lot of people are dehydrated, right? Let's say you didn't drink water 3 hours before you went to sleep, then you sleep 8 hours. That's 11 hours that you have no, you know, any hydration in your system. So the first thing you want to do is go hydrate. You can add a little bit of lemon to it.
Whoa,
you could do like warm
Cayenne.
water, yeah, cayenne, warm water, lemon, maybe a little apple cider vinegar. I've kind of tried all different of those things, but lemon is a good cleanser for your body. And just getting that water, and like, believe it or not, like a lot of people rely on coffee, but getting a lot of hydration early on, like my eyes bulge out because they're like, wow, I'm like awake. Like I don't need coffee necessarily. Like I can drink coffee later on in the morning, for example, and not really take it right away, right when I wake up to wake me up, because actually that's not the best time to do coffee. You're supposed to do it like maybe like an hour and a half after you wake up to, you know, for your adjusting cortisol levels. So, and that's when you're going to get the biggest benefit from the coffee. So, yeah.
Okay, so you wake up.
Oh, sorry. Water, lemon. I would say.
Do you do the sunlight? Because Andrew Huberman, I don't know if you listen to him, but he's like,
I know. I've
touch
heard,
grass. You
yes,
touch the sun.
grounding would be great. I just haven't gotten to that level yet. I have a lot of artificial grass in my backyard, so it's like I don't have access to it. I would literally have to like maybe go across the street. And
It's doing too much. First thing in
yeah,
the
it's
morning.
like I don't want to, you know, head out there in like shorts or whatever. But you know, so I'll. But yes, grounding, highly beneficial. I actually recommended a grounding mat for one of my patients lately. It's something that you put on your mattress, but you can plug it into the wall and you get like similar grounding effects.
I need that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send you the links for that.
Because I have the red light in my home.
You have the red light, yes.
I have the red light.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with wellness and health, I need
Yeah.
it. So that grounding mat, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I need it. I need
No,
it.
no. I'll definitely send you the links. There's a couple good ones. But I mean, you see the reviews and it's like life changing. Oh my God, like aches and pains, and just, you know, the sleep was 10 times better. So, you know, definitely look into that. I mean, yeah, but some people think that's a little bit kooky. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's a grounding mat. What the hell does that do? But yeah, like the earth has, you know, so many things that can give you energy. You know what I mean? So it's a situation where grounding's great. You want to, I would say, affirmations in the morning, just something you could do for yourself. I listen to a lot of motivational podcasts just kind of to get me going in the morning. You just want to have positive thoughts going into your day, because if you wake up and you're start to think negative and you start thinking about all the things you need to do or problems you're having or whatnot, that is going to set the tone for the rest of your day. You know what I mean? So you want to hydrate, get energized. Yes, get sun would be great. I just don't do it, but I do get a lot of sun. I try to get a lot of sun on the weekends. And what's crazy is that I know there's a huge deal about sunscreens.
Yes.
Sunblocks.
I don't know which side of the argument I'm on right now.
To be quite
Are
honest.
we mineral, pro-mineral?
Oh, absolutely pro-mineral.
Okay.
I mean, I think it has to be mineral. Like all those other chemical-based ones are, you know, the spray ones and things like that. Those are not good for you at all. So I definitely try to do mineral, but I think going even beyond that, I think there's like some tallow ones that you can use now that are, if you really want to go that extra mile and go natural, that's something you could do.
I feel like that has a white cast. It just gives me vibes of white cast for someone who's dark skinned.
No, honestly, I haven't tried, so I can't vouch for it. But I've heard some I follow some people on social media that, are very much in line with the way I think, and, that's what they recommend. I haven't tried it yet, but, I think that's a way to go, even more natural. But like at minimum, I would say the mineral, the zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, is the way to go. You definitely don't want to use those chemicals. But one of the things I've noticed with my diet, I don't burn.
Really?
Like
And you're on the carnivore diet right now.
I'm on, for the most part, carnivore. I would say carnivore / keto. Like I will include, it's not like strictly meat. I'll throw in pasture raised eggs. I cook it in like a tallow or a raw butter. Have raw cheese on top of the eggs or whatever. I mean, it's absolutely delicious. Like I could eat that every single morning and like not have an issue. I had an avocado today with it. And, but yeah, just the fact that I'm not getting those seed oils and I'm not getting all that sugar into my body for so long now. Like I can be out in the sun in LA heat and I don't wear any sunscreen on my body. Now, granted, I do put it on my face, but I could be out there for hours and it's like I have a golden tan. You know what I mean? So I think diet has a big influence. Like if you're burning easily, I would say look to your diet and see what you're putting in your body that's, helping, because then everybody thinks, oh, I'm getting burned all the time. It's like, it's the sun's fault. It's like, the sun is like the giver of life. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. Like we need the sun. And, people are just so afraid of it. And, the whole agenda about, pushing the chemical sunscreens, and you gotta drench your face in these sunscreens and these chemicals. It's like, it's not good for you. And again, this is just my opinion. Other people out there might have,
I love that you always have to throw in, this is just my opinion.
Yeah,
We're
seriously.
at this day and age.
This is what has worked for me. And like, I have anecdotal evidence. Like this is what's worked best for my body. Like my skin cleared up, it's just been great for me. So listen, if it's vegan, vegetarian, or other different types of diets, it could be paleo, keto, whatever it is. Like if that was going to help you function at 100% of your potential expression, have at it.
I like to think of everything that we've talked about today kind of, you've seen the movie Avatar?
I have, yes.
Okay. So I like to give the example that on the planet, I forget what the planet's called. I just watched it 2 years ago.
I saw the water one recently,
Yeah,
but I was like in and out. I was like, what? I half asleep.
Yeah. So basically, in the movie Avatar, if you watch their ecosystem, it's like the avatars are so in sync with the earth and Awa and the animals, and like everything works together. And then you see the humans come on to the planet and essentially destroy everything.
Just ruin everything.
Exactly. So like basically what we're saying is, anyone who says, grounding and getting sunlight first thing in the morning is kooky. You have to think of the world. It's an ecosystem. We were all put in here to like help one another. There's like a food chain and there's like an order that life on Earth has.
And it has had for millions of years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like not until recently have all those things changed. And
right. And I think that we still are very much primal creatures, and a lot of what we do comes from our caveman ancestors and the way of life that we lived before. And people just don't realize it because they're so modernized, and we drive cars and we have houses and we wear perfumes and we do all these different things. And I'm like, even like picking partners, it's still primal instinct. And I feel like people don't even realize it. Yeah. And so for anyone who is listening and they're like, I don't want to do this, it sounds kooky, like medicine has come so far, all these things, just think of it like we are an ecosystem and we are part of the ecosystem, and we damage it in a lot of ways, which is why the earth is dying, low key. Yeah. But you have to think like the earth benefits us and we're supposed to be benefiting the earth back. 2 questions that I ask every listener on the podcast. The first one is going to be, what is an insecurity of yours that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
I would say I suffered with acne when I was younger, like big time. I would not show my face out in public a lot of times, where it was embarrassing. Like I was just very insecure. It affected my relationship with women, and it was just a situation where I just didn't want to go out. I would like drench my face in like benzoyl peroxide or salicylic acid or whatever the case may be, and I just would I just wouldn't participate in life. My friends would go out, and like I'd be like kind of like mini depressed and just not even go out, and enjoy my life. And it wasn't until I say I would, I started looking internally as far as the problem, because it's like all these creams and stuff that you put on your face, those are great. But at the same time, you got to look from within. Like something's going on inside that's, manifesting itself in this breakout or this skin condition or something like that. So you gotta heal from within. And I mean, there's other things that you could do on the outside. Like I'm a big fan of retinoids, like Retin-A. It's helps with wrinkles. It helps with, sloughing off the dead skin and just kind of like keeping your skin rejuvenated. So that's something that you could do on the outside, but for the most part, you want to look from within. So yeah, I would say that was like an insecurity, when I was younger.
I see. Okay. And then the last question, this can be physical, mental, spiritual, physiological, whatever. What do you love about yourself and why?
What do I love about myself? I love that I'm not like a quitter in my career. Like I'm an entrepreneur now for, the first time. I would say I started in like 2019 because I used to work with like a group before. But I think just knowing that every single day, like I'm thinking very positively. I'm thinking about, just being successful and growing my business, growing my knowledge, self-development. It's like I just try to look at every day that like it's an adventure. Like, what am I going to learn today? How am I going to improve as a human? I'm always trying to focus on that. So it's like I'm proud that, I'm a positive person. Like I like to think that the glass is half full, you know what I mean? And things are always going to work out, and just, try to stay the course and stay positive, because like mental health is obviously a huge deal. And a lot of things that happen to us in this world, whether it be financial, relationship wise, I mean, a lot of people are suffering out there. So, looking to things like diet and supplements and things like that can enhance, and then getting rid of, these things that are causing harm to people's bodies. That's where I think they should focus as much as possible, or at least to aid them with whatever type of medication that, their doctors have them on, because eventually you want to try to get off those medications, right? You want to try to do things as natural as possible. And that's the way I look at it. But yeah, just being a positive person, and just staying the course, and, never giving up with anything that you're doing.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on the podcast
Appreciate
today.
you. Thank you so much for having me.
Guys. All right. Thank you, listeners, so much. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the places that you can listen and watch. And can you give them your Instagram? Where can you find Bryan at?
Yeah, you can find me at thebrianabasolo. You can find me at thebrianabasolo on IG. You can go to my website, www.bh, as in Beverly Hills, bhdiscandlaser.com. I have all types of resources about the things I do in the office, which obviously you have experienced before. But, my goal is to just help as many people as possible in a more natural, high-tech way, with modern technology. And, I just want to get the word out about, not only diet, nutrition, fitness, other options that people may not think they have, because they're so used to that Western medical model. And, I'm just trying to shine the light on that.
We love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.